The frame of mind. What's all when one has to express the joy of pilgrimage? It is not an outward feeling to touch the holy dust, to sip in a few drops of the holy ocean, to hold the rope of Nandighasa, chariot of Lord Jagannath. The feeling is so intrinsic, but yes, in this joyous path, there can be a bit of shivering in his body. His ears may stand on their end. His eyes may get moist, and there are times when he may not be able to hide his gestures of elation. These expressions are all but a minuscule fraction of the joy experienced with him. Those reading these small fractions of the expression of the inner joy may start feeling the same joy within and consider them to be also a part of the same thing. Shillong, the place of pilgrimage. To me, Shillong without Swami Vivekananda is like Puri without a Lord Jagannath, or Benares without a Kashi Vishwanath. Shillong is dear to many because of his scenic beauty or his pleasant climate. But to me, that place is something beyond that. The reason why I say so is that it was a chosen land of Swamiji, a land where he chose to rest a bit, and the present writer was given the honor to experience its living presence while staying at this privileged place, as if it was a new journey made to unfold. I owe a lot to Shillong because it is here that my childhood dream of rolling on the soil where Vivekananda had roamed came to fruition. Before reaching Shillong, little did I know that Swami Vivekananda had already decided to hand me over an entire child when I had simply prayed for was a few fruits in the garden house and a place to lay my head. It was my proud privilege to get nourished for 16 long years in Shillong, my place of pilgrimage. It was not just a place for me to bathe and soak in its fresh water or relish the food and shelter or even dispel my ignorance about the beautiful land and its wonderful people. It was not limited to my physical or psychological being, but was something more profound journey steeped in spirituality that still keeps me rejuvenated. The fun and the joy. As I go down the memory lane, I remember it was in April 2001, just after 100 years since Swami Vivekananda had set his foot in Shillong, that I got to touch my forehead to the same soil for the first time. I had heard people spend their lives earnings to go on pilgrimage to Puri or Mecca. The troubles of the road, the possibility of being robbed of all their belongings or even losing life did not scare them. I had no such pain to take, rather it was all fun. I had seen people sitting on gunny bags of potatoes and vegetables for making their journey, but my first ride to Shillong was a lot more interesting. Firstly, I was going to Shillong by ashram vehicles, and in the second, Swami Brahmadevanandaji Maharaj, the then Secretary Maharaj of Shillong Ashram, had himself come to receive me from Guwahati. The vehicle was packed up to the brim with the goods from marketing. Now coming to the interesting part of my ride towards Shillong, well, it was not that I too had to sit on top of the canny bags of potatoes, but rather I experienced how even a sack full of potatoes can take a comfort seat on my lap as the vehicles snails through the serpentine road. Subsequently, I could find cab owners never saying no to any potential passengers, even if there was hardly any space left for one to sit. Mind it, the boot spaces of cabs too were not spared. Half a dozen of people would be peeping out while someone holding the door aloft with a stick. Strange but true, this is how simple tribal people adapt for conveyance in the hilly terrains of Shillong without grumbling for near to non-existence public transport system. In the Ramakrishna Mission campus at Quinton Road, sanctified by Swami Vivekananda, there would be Ajha the cook cum gardener. He would prepare dal that was more akin to Ganga water and would never get exhausted during lunch. You could also remain assured that none is going to disturb the campus by getting inside even though the gate is kept wide open. Challenges as stimulus. Fun apart, I was slowly realizing how all the hard work done by Revered Swami Ghananandaji, Atmastanandaji, Smarananandaji, Prabhanandaji, and other administrators from the headquarters. Prathamanandaji from Itanagar, Swami Devdevanandaji, Raghunathanandaji, Yogatmanandaji from Shillong as its heads, and Swamis Samachittanandaji, Jaidevanandaji as in charge of Vivekananda Cultural Center was lying every little used. Library, dispensary, Ramnam Sankirtan, weekly classes, and many other things were attempted to popularize the institution, but still takers were very few. Days passed by, and the initial desire to enjoy quietness gave way to feeling, and it was. So many youth congregate at Danbakso Youth Center and other institutions run by the missionaries, but all in the efforts of so many great monks of Ramakrishna order remain unnoticed and unutilized. Almost echoing the lines of the prayer made by Holy Mother Sharda Devi for food and shelter of people leaving their hearth and home in the name of Sri Ramakrishna after seeing the solvent monasteries at Buddhagaya. Response from heaven. That time it looked like a hallucination. Even today, many may doubt it to be just as mind's play. But that day in the small temple of Ramakrishna Mission, Naimukra, it was so vivid. It is as though Sri Ramakrishna answered in the lines he had told Mother Sharda Devi when asked if she will never have children, that there will be so many beneficiaries, you will find it difficult to handle. After all, it was his Noren's favorite place and the only place visited by Swami Vivekananda in the whole of Northeast India, where a center stands in the name of Ramakrishna Missions. It was unbelievable, but from the nowhere suddenly came money, Department of Cultures, Government of India, sanctioned about 65 lakhs for RKM BCC from his funds for Golden Jubilee celebration of Indians' independence. I can still visualize everything so clearly. I remember Revered Swami Brahmadevanandaji getting worried and uttering all at once what to do with so much money. And Here begins a new journey of sleepless nights and days of careful planning.